most people thought that live streaming was just for the bees, the birds, and the bored. An astute lawyer decided that it was just the right time to jump in with both feet and lead the way. Don't go away, we'll be right back. If you're just joining us, welcome to the conversation with Brigetti. I'm your host, Brigetti Lumbanda from Cape Town in South Africa, and today's live stream is made possible by StreamYard and BeLive Media. If you're joining us on Amazon Live, please remember to unmute and do follow us so you don't miss out on the next show. This is an audience-centric show, so please do say hello in the comments. If you've got questions for our guest today, he'd love to hear from you. If you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, or on LinkedIn, or even on Twitter, a very warm welcome to you as well. Our amazing guest today is Mitch Jackson, so please ask your questions in the comment section. For those of you who don't know Mitch Jackson, he's one of the smartest lawyers I know. And if you're a business person and you're watching the show right now live, or you're catching it on the replay, and you're still on the fence and you're thinking that live streaming is only a passing fad for people who have nothing to do, because that's what most people think, then sit up. You're in for a surprise when you meet my guest, Mitch Jackson, today. He was named the 2009 Orange County Trial Lawyer of the Year and 2013 California Litigation Lawyer of the Year. Mitch combines law, social media, and technology to disrupt, hack, and improve his clients' companies, causes, and professional relationships, and he gets consistent results. Mitch uses social media and technology to help good attorneys become great trial lawyers, but not just lawyers. He helps people to communicate and negotiate more persuasively and effectively. He's an early adopter of live video and has spoken in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and at Periscope Summits, and also Social Media Day San Diego. He's appeared with the likes of Katie Couric, Anderson Cooper, Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, and he has shared the stage with David Mearmscott at Tony Robinson's Business Mastery before thousands of people. So put your hands together and let's give a warm welcome to my special guest, trial lawyer Mitch Jackson.
Brigetti, this is awesome. Thank you for having me on. You are such a professional. This is how live video needs to be done. I'm honored to be on your show today.
Mitch, I am so pleased to have you. Thank you for agreeing to be my guest today. And I want to jump right in with both feet. What is it that you say when you start all your shows? There's a specific phrase that you use at the start of all your shows. What is it? Can you tell us, and why do you do that?
Ooh, well, I love reminding everyone to make each day their masterpiece. And that's a saying that Coach John Wooden here in California back in the day used to tell his players, to focus on what we have control over. All right. Don't worry about what we don't have control over. But that's something that I love sprinkling throughout my live video shows. And I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but it's something that comes from the heart and really hopefully gets everybody in the right frame of mind to smile, to embrace change, and to enjoy exactly what we're doing right here and now.
That's part of what you say. The other part that
Yeah.
you say is, I am a.
Well, I'm a dad, a husband, a father, a coach, a paddleboarder, a motocross rider. I also happen to be a lawyer. I'm all the above. I'm a man that wears many different hats. I honestly don't know where you're going with this, but that's
And
who I
so
am
you
and what I
often
do.
say, I am a trial lawyer, but I am not.
Oh, you are brilliant. So when I'm talking about legal advice, legal opinions, and legal things, I'll tell everyone, because the California State Bar require us to say this. Look, while I am a trial lawyer, and a pretty good trial lawyer at that, I'm not your trial lawyer. No legal advice is being given during today's show. We're simply having a conversation, doing Q&A, and hopefully smiling for the next 45 or 60 minutes. It's good to be on.
Awesome. Love
That's what
it.
you're talking about.
That's what I was waiting for.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries. All good. Why is it important for businesses who live stream to have a disclaimer of sorts?
Ooh, okay. So I think it's very important that the consumer of our live videos understand and appreciates what the real relationship is. Are they watching a live video show? Or is there a professional relationship actually being developed during the interaction? And you don't want to confuse or mislead the consumer as to exactly what the professional relationship is. So I think using disclaimers, using waivers, using written contracts between what you and I are doing and the consumer who's purchasing our products and services based upon what they're watching during a live video. For example, I know right now we're over on Amazon Live. I'm a big fan of Amazon Live. You guys check out all the cool resources and books that Brigetti is sharing over there. If somebody was to reach out and want to hire you or me to do something, well, then we need to formalize that professional relationship, in my case, with a written and signed retainer agreement. It delineates exactly what the relationship's all about, the terms, the scope, the amount, what exactly is it that you'd like me to do for you, but it also avoids the potential for a misunderstanding as to a professional relationship actually being present when there isn't one in the first place. So that's why treating your online, entrepreneur live streaming, live audio efforts in a professional fashion, like you always do, like I try to do, although I blew it at the beginning of the show because I wasn't sure where we were going on that. I think that's super important to build a business that's going to be protected and be transparent into exactly what you're bringing to the table when it comes to your live and recorded viewers.
So live streaming, social media, a lawyer seems like a very unlikely combination.
That sounds like a winning combo to me. Where are all the lawyers out there, everybody? Don't you realize, Brigetti, here's the thing. Check this out. Back in the day before social and digital, we were meeting our clients, and I've been practicing everyone for 35 years. I'm a dinosaur. I started practicing before the internet, before social media. It was one-on-one across from the desk. A client had to come in, right, drive to the office, sit down, oftentimes pay for a consultation, and we take care of business for an hour. Now it's 1 to 100. It's 1 to 1,000. Sometimes it's 1 to 10,000. I can share the same solutions, the same advice to a global audience over multiple time zones in an easier and less expensive fashion for the consumer, right? Which creates a better client experience and allows me to tap into what I've learned over the years and share it with more people. I don't know why more professionals, I don't care whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, whether you make donuts for a living, everyone needs to be building their brands on social media so that you can go from unknown to unforgettable so that you can build and expand your brand from local to global. So I don't know where all the lawyers are, Brigetti, but I wish, I wish they were here. The more, the better. I'm a fan of lawyers. I love lawyers. I married a lawyer. I met my wife in law school. We've been married ever since. My daughter's a second-year lawyer in Los Angeles. And so I don't know.
I love live streaming because for me, it's taken the concept of business to the next level, because previously business was limited to four walls, to trading within your area, your domain where you live. And live streaming for me has allowed us to do business without walls, without barriers. We can do business pretty much anywhere we like. Sure. These days. So what kind of impact has live streaming had on your business, and how do you marry the two to translate that into business?
It's changed everything. Back in 2011, 2012, Jeff Floor, who is the CEO of Spreecast, the creator of Spreecast, which was one of the original was the first live video for social media on a 3G network. Those of you who recognize the name, Jeff was the co-founder of StubHub, which was sold to eBay. Jeff at 26 got a little bit bored and decided we needed live video on social media and rolled out Spreecast. When they reached out to me, Brigetti, I was one of the first lawyers, if not the first lawyer on live video. And I found myself within 2 weeks in rooms with some of the people you mentioned, Katie Couric, Anderson Cooper, Peter Diamandis, the Wall Street Journal. All of a sudden, this little known lawyer, and I had a good reputation in Southern California, but I wasn't known on the other side of the world. All of a sudden, the brand exploded. After one show that night, we're on TMZ, which is a television show here in America. I don't know if you have that in South Africa. And it was all because of live video. And so what I realized, and I've never been accused of being the sharpest knife in the drawer, but what I realized was, why not take what we're doing each and every day, what you're doing, what I'm doing, what my friends are doing, what we do each and every day, and amplify that goodness, that value, the ability to help others through live video. Why not do that? And as technology caught up with this mindset, and what I mean by that is 4G networks, global interaction when it comes to live video. More people around the world have access to one of these with an internet connection than they do toothbrushes, working toilets, or drinkable water. And
That's true. That's true.
I heard Peter Diamandis tell me that. And so the fact of the matter is, you guys, if you're live streaming and taking advantage of mobile devices and tablets, laptops, and desktops, it allows you to add value. It allows you to build your brand. It allows you to be more relevant than ever before. Coming out of the other side of our upside down COVID-19 world, I think we all now appreciate how important it is to embrace the cloud, how important it is to be able to communicate using live video platforms with our clients so that we don't inconvenience them, so that we keep them safe and sound, so that we respect their limited time and limited attention. I think when you pull all of this together, we're now moving forward at this point in 2021 and moving into 2022 with a new mindset that this technology is here to help. It's here to help us create an exemplary client experience. And I think smart professionals and business owners that wrap their arms around this digital technology and incorporate it into what they do each and every day are those same professionals who will be relevant, who will see their practices and businesses grow, and who will build better client goodwill when it comes to branding of their business or practice. So that's a long answer to a short question, but it's a new world. It's a better world. And I think this type of technology helps us tap into and leverage all of the new things that are coming our way.
So with the advent of the pandemic, a lot of people had to pivot against their wishes into being online. How was that experience for your company, having already been into live streaming as you were? And I don't know, how many partners have you got? Did they all embrace live streaming as you did, or was it a new experience for them? And what was the difference? Or what have you heard from other attorneys who didn't do this prior to the pandemic?
It's been crazy. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get somebody to embrace digital. Others have been looking for an excuse to jump on a live video show, right? It depends on what our DNA is, right? And I love that about human beings. We've had a cloud, we're a traditional law firm, but we've tapped into the power of the cloud, especially for our CRM using Clio 8 or 10 years ago. So we've always been a cloud-based, that's where our data is. So whether I'm in the office, down at the courthouse, out on the ocean paddleboarding, I've got access to my firm because we're a cloud-based service. I can communicate with clients, they have access to their files. So we already were in the cloud. When COVID hit, it just stopped everything. The courts shut down. Law firms that weren't cloud-based, that weren't embracing Zoom. For example, Brigetti, I would have lawyers call me, hey, Mitch, what's this Zoom thing? Is it like a telephone call on the internet? They didn't even realize that there was video behind the Zoom platform, right? Fast forward a year later.
And that you have to switch your camera on.
Got to turn your camera on, if you want to. So I spoke at the Clio convention, got off stage right after Seth Godin last October or November of 2020. He's a tough act to follow, by the way. I don't recommend that for anyone. You got to be on your toes. But what I got to listen to was the founder of Clio and with Seth talking about a year before COVID, lawyers were towards the bottom of 17 different tech adoption sectors. We were towards the bottom of the list when it comes to tech. At the end of 2020, okay, and we're still in the middle of COVID, lawyers were towards the top of these same 17 tech sectors. Smart individuals. They understand the importance of what you and I are doing right here with live video. And so they picked it up and they ran with it. We're not going to be going back to the way it was, you guys. This is the future. It's the present of business and the future of business. So I think the takeaway is we're all learning and we now appreciate how powerful, Brigetti, what you've been doing for years, what I've been doing for years. Now everyone understands why these tools can be so valuable to our firm. But even more important, there's a new client expectation. Everything we do revolves around what's in the best interest of the client. The last question we ask a client, and I encourage all of your listeners, regardless of who you are or what you do, if you're in the service industry, once you're hired, you're sitting across from your client, you're on a Zoom with the client. Once we're done with everything, I'll look the client in the eye, or I'll look that webcam in the eye, and I'll ask the client, before we go, how would you like me to communicate with you? Text, email, snail mail, phone call, live video? What works for you? The clients love that, okay? Because only they know how a phone call is going to inconvenience them. Only they know that they move so often, snail mail is just not going to work. It's not going to keep up with where they're located. And by asking that simple question, you're showing your clients that you care about them. And then based upon what the response is, of course, subject to California State Bar rules when it comes to privacy and things like this, if you can accommodate the client and communicate with the client and have your team communicate with the client in that fashion, that's where the magic happens. That's where the relationships are built. That's what gets that client standing out in front of their home, talking to their neighbors. I just got off a Zoom with my lawyer. It was awesome. He didn't require me to come down to the office. We hopped on a live video, whatever platform we're using. He used a online electronic digital signature service to actually allow me to sign the documents while I was with him on the live video. I didn't have to put any pants on. It was great. We got everything taken care of. And that's how you build your brand. That's how you meet these new expectations. And that's how you build, I think, a company or a firm moving forward post-COVID. So it's an exciting time. I'm jacked up about this. I'm so excited about this. And it's not just because of my coffee. This is my Rotary coffee cup. I'm a hardcore Rotarian. We're Club of the Year a few years ago. And it's morning here in Southern California, everyone. Oh, there you go. You've got your StreamYard. Here, let's touch cups. Let's touch cups. Wait, ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. And I'm just get excited about this stuff. And I think when you look at audio right now, live audio, okay, couple everything we just talked about with the power of live audio. For example, the audio from this live video, when we're done, that's recorded, can be repurposed on so many different platforms and in so many different ways. It can be clipped, it can be segmented so that it's relevant to what a client needs to hear. I just get goosebumps when I think about practicing law in today's world, embracing and using this technology. It's an exciting time to be alive.
It absolutely is. Mitch, I want to talk a little bit about your book, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media for Business Owners and Professionals and Entrepreneurs. What are some of the best lessons?
Do you mean this book?
Yes.
This book right here?
That one.
And this is the most important part. 47 top experts. Not me. 47 top experts. That's my favorite part about the book. But I'm just having fun.
What are some of the best lessons from that book that people can expect to read? I don't want you to give away too much, but why should people pay attention to what you've got in that book? And you did start off by saying you've got 47 experts in there.
Yeah, I had 47 friends reach out. I reached out to that were kind enough to donate chapters as a favor into the book, some of the top experts on the planet. So I think the takeaway is this: just because social media is free most of the time, it's easy to set up, it's easy to use, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You have to understand how to embrace social media and communicate your message the right way. And so the book's broken down into three pillars of success. And for example, Brigitte, let's say you and I were going to be performing on stage. It's one thing for you and I to be handed a script, walk up onto a stage in front of 1,000 people and read from the script, word for word. We probably wouldn't get a standing ovation. We probably wouldn't get the type of review the next day in the entertainment blogs that we would like. However, if we practiced our lines and we worked on our stagemanship and how to project and how to act, and we delivered, an award-winning performance, then people are going to take notice and people are going to say good things about what you and I just did on stage. Social's the same way. Once you understand that, it comes down to three things. Number one, the mindset of social media. The mindset of social media is what Bob Berg often talks about, the go-giver mentality. Bob contributed chapter 2 to my book. There's a reason why it's at the very beginning of the book. And that's because you have to have a go-giver mentality. You have to give, and give some more. And it's fun to do that. It's fun to share your years of experience, what you know about your niche with an audience, okay? It's just the right way to go through life. So once you figure that out, you develop that go-giver mentality, you develop that giving mindset. The second thing is understand and appreciate each platform has a different personality. So I had an expert on each platform, some cases more than expert on one platform, write about how Twitter is used and why it's different than LinkedIn, Instagram, or live streaming, okay? And understanding the dynamics of the community and sharing what a message on Twitter or an opportunity, maybe it's even a sales pitch on Twitter, that's different than how you might approach that same content on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, TikTok, for example. The third part about the book, which is my favorite, is all about communicating. Look, unless you know how to share an appropriately entertaining message on social media in a way that's unique and memorable, in a way that not only embraces storytelling, but here's a little secret. There's so much more to communication than storytelling. I know that's the big buzzword, but you're hearing this from a trial lawyer, you guys. We've been telling stories in court for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years, okay? It's nothing new. Storytelling entertains, and that's important. But if you want somebody to take that next step, if I need someone in court to come back with a jury verdict in favor of my client, I need to empower them to make the right decision. So you want to learn how to tell a good, effective, persuasive, entertaining story that empowers your audience to take that next step, that call to action. And so the third section of the book has 15 or 16 chapters, depending on how you interpret those particular chapters, that share specific techniques to communicate your message better on the social media platforms. So when you combine the mindset with understanding the personalities of the platforms, with understanding how to communicate your message in a way that empowers your audience to take that next desired step, That's how you make social media work. When you combine that with speaking from the heart, being genuine, being transparent, not being too hard on yourself with how you look or how you sound. Obviously, you want to be prepared, but none of us are perfect. I think when you put all that together, that's the secret sauce. That's the magical pixie dust, I think, that will help you shine on social media. And so that's why I wrote the book, because people were reaching out to me, Brigetti, Mitch, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm a full-time trial lawyer. So now I have something I can just hand them and say, here you go, do this, and you're going to be in good shape. So those are the three, I think, primary talking points that we discuss in detail in the book. And I appreciate you bringing it up.
You know, Mitch, you're one of the people that do social the right way. A lot of people decide that they want to get into this thing they call social media as if it's something completely separate from who they are, you know, as if they're putting on a different jacket now because they're on social media. And when you're on social, yes, sure, you do shows, but you do other stuff. And can you tell me why you do that, and how effective that has been for you? Because I see a lot of people jump onto the social media bandwagon, and they put on this formal jacket, and all they do is talk business, and people are tuning out.
Right.
So,
right.
Can you tell us what it is you do and why that works?
So, first of all, if that's how you approach social media, all you'll have are digital crickets, you know, watching your shows. No one's going to tune in and listen. What I found to be that works for me is when I'm out and about, whether I'm going for a run, I'm doing a paddle down at the harbor on my paddle board, if I'm walking into the courthouse, I'll take out my phone. Okay, I'll take out my GoPro. I love my Hero 9, everybody. It's an awesome tool. And I'll shoot a quick video on what's going on. I'll pull the curtains back and share with everyone. For example, I'm walking into a deposition. It involves a distracted driver, ran through a red light, killed my clients who were safely and lawfully entering into the intersection. I'm taking the defendant's deposition, and let's find out why he felt what was going on his phone while he was driving at 60 miles an hour while going through the red light was more important than the health and safety of my family. I'll talk about that before walking into the deposition. I'll say, I'll jump back and join you guys in a couple of hours when we're done and let you know what happened. That for me is the type of content that people are interested in. It's also the type of content I think that helps educate the consumer as to the dangers of distracted driving. If I'm out for a run sometimes before a big case, I'll let my audience know, listen, it's very important, you guys, that unless you're physically and mentally healthy and aware and firing on all cylinders, you're not going to be any good to anybody in a court of law. So that's why I'm out for a run today. I've got a big case. I'll talk a little bit about the case, some of the interesting talking points, but I'll let people know that I'm out doing my thing. I'm a human being just like their neighbors, just like their family, just like their friends. And that's the type of content that we'll take, Brigetti, and we'll cross promote on all the platforms, and people resonate with it. People enjoy being brought into a part of your life. I'm strategically transparent. Okay. I don't share everything on social media. If I'm having a bad day, I'll usually go to some old content and share that with everyone that day. I like to be positive. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, but I also feel like you want to be strategic about what you share and how you go about doing it. So incorporating your hobbies, your interests and passions into the content that you create will help you be unique. It will help you stand out above all the noise, and it will help you connect and build rapport with other people. I get motocross racers and paddle boarders and online entrepreneurs that reach out to me for legal services, not because they watched me sitting behind a desk with my hands folded in a suit, talking about where I went to law school, what awards I've won, and how many trials I've won. They're connecting with me because we share similar interests, hobbies, right? And that's what starts the conversation. And then the way we do close the deal is we steer it back over to how can we help fix their problem? What questions do they have? And then we use and leverage social media to facilitate those communications, to build relationships and hopefully new clients down the road. So once again, it's just a fun way, I think, to break up the day by balancing what we do for a living with what we do when we're outside of the office, and then maybe sprinkle in some social media during the journey. And it's fun.
Mitch, I want to just touch on what you said there, because it's such an important point to use social media very, very strategically. In other words, it's not just about learning how to use StreamYard or Restream or whichever other software you choose, OBS, it doesn't really matter. It's not just about learning the technology, it's learning to have a strategy behind it.
Yes.
And I also want to touch on the point that you mentioned, if you're having a bad day, you'll repurpose some other content. Transparency online does not mean you need to wear your heart on your sleeve. Like if you had an argument with your wife, you're not going to be ranting about that on social media. That's not very strategic.
Don't do that. Don't do that. For so many reasons, right?
Absolutely. I want to touch on two other books. The other one, and you did mention it just now, is Distracted Driving. Now, I advocate for responsible social media and responsible live streaming. Can you tell us what is your stance on distracted driving, and why particularly why people should not live stream and drive, because it's still a problem. I still see this happening almost on a daily basis. Why should we not stream and live?
It's not only
stream and drive.
Yeah, it's not only happening on a daily basis, it's happening about 600 times for every second during daylight hours in the United States. Over 600,000 people on any given second are operating a motor vehicle with some type of electronic device in their hand. That's how big the problem is, not, in the United States. Spread that around the world, and we've got a huge problem. About 300,000 people a year are injured because of drunk drivers, but about 700,000 to 800,000 people a year are injured because of distracted drivers. Traveling 50 miles an hour with one of these in your hand, the average attention you take to look down at a text or an email or to make a call, it's 3 to 5 seconds. That 3 to 5 seconds at 50 miles an hour with your eyes off the road is equivalent to being blindfolded and driving the length of a football field, or on your side of the world, the length of a rugby field or a soccer field. And obviously it's not safe. The reason I'm so passionate about this is that over the years, we've represented families who have, experienced just tragic injuries, suffered wrongful deaths in the family because of distracted drivers. So it's something where a lot of people just don't realize how fast something really, really bad can happen when you're behind the wheel of a car. And they don't realize that it's not just your safety that we all need to be concerned with, but it's the safety of everyone else around you. Other people driving, other people crossing the crosswalk. Joel Feldman's a lawyer here in the United States, and he's got a group. It's called EndDD.org. So that's EndDD for distracteddriving.org. Joel started this when his 21-year-old daughter, Casey, was crossing the crosswalk in school, in college, and she was struck and killed by a distracted driver. And what Joel did is his family put together EndDD.org to help raise awareness. I think it's primarily at the high school level as to some of the statistics that I've just shared with you, because a lot of people aren't aware of how dangerous this is. Now, some people will say, well, it's a mounted device. I'm not holding it in my hand. I'm using a Bluetooth type of system. Studies have shown that even when you're not holding a device or you're using Bluetooth, because you're thinking about speaking and you're not thinking about the act of driving, your attention span is distracted for up to 26 or 27 seconds. So what they've shown is even hands-free or Bluetooth devices while driving, while live streaming, right, are not any safer. And if anyone would like a link to one or more of these studies, just private message me and I'll share that link with you. So I'm very passionate about helping raise awareness as to the dangers of distracted driving. I have a zero tolerance. If someone's doing this, they're not going to be on my show. I'm not going to promote their content. Oftentimes it's a lack of understanding or appreciation as to how dangerous it is. But the reason I'm so vocal about it is I've sat across from clients who have lost their grandmother, their 2-year-old granddaughter to a distracted driving situation. And I don't want to see that happen to any of you. So please be safe out there.
I absolutely agree with you 100% with that. And it often pains me that people that I have gotten to know over the years through live streaming are doing that, because I worry for their safety and I worry for the safety of people around them. It's something that really does need to change, because as you say, you may think, well, I'm on Bluetooth, it's okay. It actually isn't, because your mind is divided.
It's hard though, Brigetti. It's hard, right? I'm noticing some comments over on Amazon Live. I didn't mean to interrupt you, so I apologize. But this is the sticking point. It's hard. We all have been trained by software programmers in Silicon Valley. I get it, you guys, where these things are more addicting than slot machines. Okay, the software that's being used. And I always say, look, you got to put it away, put it, turn it off before you turn your car on. That would be ideal. But most of us aren't going to do that. So just go ahead and mute it, stick it between the seats, put the cover over it, and train yourself while you're driving, not to get distracted by the noises. Mute everything and your notifications so that you're not pinged while you're driving. Look, the bottom line is, as much of an inconvenience or hassle that it is to not pay attention to your phone while driving, it's not an option. I mean, we got to step up as leaders and lead by example so our kids aren't watching us do it. Brigetti, when I see live streamers, really well-known live streamers, streaming while driving, I'm done. I'll call them out. If it's something that they do over and over and over again, I'll call them out. I don't care, because the only way we can fix this is to have people who are leading by example, and live streamers that are doing this and are more concerned with their brand or the audience than they are the safety of others are frankly people that I don't want to have in my life. So, let's all lead by example, step up, share information. And if you see somebody doing this, go to another platform, shut it down. It's not worth it.
Mitch, that is valuable information. Thanks for sharing. So the other thing I want to ask you about is, what is your stance on people using social media for naming and shaming?
Ooh, it's terrible. Terrible. I can't stand that. A friend of mine, Sue Chef, wrote the book Shame Nation. The foreword on the book was written by Monica Lewinsky, everyone. And I was a contributing expert to the book. And she does a good job of laying out, Brigetti, the problem of online harassment, online shaming, the implications to students, to families, to businesses, to employees, and offers really good solutions on how to fix the problem, avoid the problem, stop the problem, and help those that are suffering because of the problem. So, it's just not the way to live your life, right? It's not the way to go about building relationships. If you're in business, that's not something you want to be involved with. I really feel and have a abundance mentality mindset. There's plenty of business out there for everyone. You don't need to talk poorly about your competitors. You don't need to speak illy about a past client or a customer. And I think in social media, the people that and brands that resonate to the top are the ones that are positive in the content they create, or they've purposefully taken a position on an important social topic. And I've done that quite a bit over the last 4 years. It's people that in companies that we can trust and we know where they stand. And they're taking a position because they're trying to make the world a better place. They're trying to help other people's lives. They're building bridges instead of knocking down buildings. And I think if you take that approach on social media, being positive and adding value instead of putting other people down, you can build a fun, productive, long-term brand on all of the social platforms.
Absolutely. If there's an attorney that's watching this, or a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and they're watching this right now, and they haven't yet embraced social media, what do you want to say to them?
Well, fortunately, I'm going to suggest most get it. Most business owners and CEOs are smart enough to have figured this out, at least by now, 2021, right? We've been around for a while now when it comes to social. But I do feel that it's critically important to embrace social the right way. You've got to empower your team members in your companies to create user-generated content, to share their lives, their stories, their hobbies, their interests and passions, possibly directly through your company portals to share their stories. We're all human beings. If we have a common interest in a local food bank or in a professional sports team, and you can create content around that, which directly or indirectly complements your company culture, complements your products and services, I think that's the way to go. And so I would say simply think about embracing what we're talking about on a company level. Think about empowering your customers and your clients to share your products and services in their own unique way with their own and unique audiences to help share the benefits of what you bring to the table. That's the way social works really, really well. And so I would encourage CEOs to expand their mindset to bring everyone else into the social media sandbox, not only to maximize the net effect of what social brings, I think to your business, your company, your products, your services, and your brand, but I think it builds goodwill within your community, especially with our younger team members who grew up with a phone in their hand. They're on Snap, they're on TikTok. Why can't you embrace them? Whether you increase their salaries, whether you give them a better chance for promotion, to share and send your message and share your message on these platforms as only they can do. That's the way I would approach incorporating social media into today's established businesses. And it works really well. I've seen some companies do it.
Mitch, my final question for you. Over the last couple of months, Clubhouse has been all the rave. Tell us how you've embraced Clubhouse and how has that served you as a lawyer? How
fun. Are you over on Clubhouse, Brigetti?
I do have a Clubhouse account, yes.
You do have an account. Okay. I'm a big fan of Clubhouse. I'm a big fan of audio. Okay. And what Clubhouse has allowed us to do, for those of you that aren't on Clubhouse, it's invitation open only. They've just opened up to Android. So it's iPhones and Android devices. And it's audio only. It doesn't matter how you're dressed, whether or not you've shaved and combed your hair, you can participate in these rooms. What I found is amazing human beings over on the platform. My secret is I'm not diving into rooms with other lawyers. I'm diving into rooms or co-moderating rooms with venture capitalists, with executives in the entertainment industry, with writers, with entrepreneurs, with business founders. For me, it's an interesting community that allows you almost instantly to connect with the leaders of those different occupations, professions, and sectors. So I'm a big fan of Clubhouse. Now, with anything else in this world, you want to be strategic and filter the time that you spend on the platform, which rooms you participate in, and how you go about, let's just say, building out your brand on the Clubhouse platform. When I first jumped in, I did what I did earlier with Periscope, which was one of the earliest live video from your phone services. And I created a Facebook group. It's what's it called? Lawyers on Clubhouse. It's a Facebook group. And we shared tips and techniques to allow lawyers to properly and correctly and easily embrace the power of Clubhouse. The same techniques that worked on live video with Periscope back in the day, 8-10 years ago, whenever it was, it works on Clubhouse, okay? So I just wanted to make sure the lawyers don't get on Clubhouse and shoot themselves in their big toe. I want to make sure they get on there and use the platform the right way. But I think the bigger question is, Brigetti, is live audio, whether it's on Twitter Spaces, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube, wherever we may having live community conversations, it's interesting. It's powerful. I'm all in on this technology. I think it's something that we all need to pay attention to. I think Twitter Spaces is the next big play, simply because the community is already there. and something else. Twitter Spaces is allowing us already to listen in on Twitter Spaces, which is a community conversation using audio on our laptop or desktop. And over the next couple months, they're going to allow us to participate and host Twitter Spaces from our laptop and desktop. That's huge. When I have a community on Clubhouse, and I've built up a nice sized community, everyone, which is great, but it's nothing compared to the upside that Twitter offers. The numbers of daily users, the number of people that are already following me, I'm going to be able to tap into them, Brigetti, through Twitter Spaces. And so it's an amazing technology. I'm excited about it, and I encourage everyone to kick the tires and give it a look.
I think that's a great note to end on. So do go and check out Twitter Spaces and do check out Clubhouse. And especially if you haven't quite warmed up to the idea of live video, then it's a great way to get your feet wet in social and learning to do it right. Mitch, this was absolutely amazing. I thank you so much for being such an amazing guest. Thank you for your time. Do hang on a second in the green room for me. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. If you're watching us on Amazon Live, you're watching us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, it was amazing having you here joining us today. So thanks, everyone. Stay safe. Take care, and we'll see you on the next stream.
Thanks, everybody.